We expecting someone else? Today in Inside Craft Show, commercial breakdown, Master Primes, Jeff's beard in 3D. Pickle Rick. Everybody, today on Inside Craft Show, as you can see, I am not at my normal situation. There's no desk. We're next to the cabinet here in front of Dawson's area, which we don't know where Dawson is. He's MIA. I haven't seen him since the shoot. I'm assuming he's alive because he got home, he helped us unload gear, and then he vanished. Jeff is currently grading. As a matter of fact, I'll let him put this big bite of food in his mouth for awkwardness. I was thinking about showing you guys a little bit of footage. So let's take a little peek-see. Oh man, the autofocus. It's not working. I guess that's the end of that. Well, that didn't work. So anyway, today on Inside Craft Show, we're going to talk about using Master Primes. We did throw a GH5 shot on this spot. So on this particular commercial, it was for a local amusement park, theme park, if you will, regional, whatever it is. Regional theme park, as Jeff says. So anyway, what we wanted to do is just kind of go through and look at the shots, talk through them a little bit. All right, so looking at our shots, got my laptop. Looking at our shots here, it is it's an interesting spot to work on, simply because what we had to deal with in terms of creative was pretty straightforward. We got to kind of design the spot alongside the creative director. And so in this case, the more important factor is looking at the spot. So let's take a look at the commercial and then we can kind of talk through it. Again, this was shot on the red Dragon with Master Primes. I think we had three lenses, a 70, 40, and 25, something like that. 70, 40, 20, it's been a while. So anyway, here's the commercial.
Now open. The Gulf Coast's latest attraction, OWA.
All right, so there we go. There's the spot. Really simple, nothing too crazy. Obviously, we use some of the warp zoom effects, various things there to kind of give it a little more energy. There's a couple of challenges in the spot. They weren't open yet, so we couldn't really stage a lot of rides, so we had to do it a different direction, which is perfectly fine. It worked out really well in terms of setting this up, right? So there's a new spot running that has people in it and kind of doing that thing. But in this particular one, we went that route. So those shots, anytime you see those first-person POV type perspective shots, that's all GoPro. We just used a gator clamp. I don't see it in here. We had a gator clamp, and then we also had like a bike mount clamp, and we would secure them. Also, again, for safety, we didn't want people on the rides for that, even though most of them weren't that fast. The roller coaster's a little crazy. That said, we were able to pull one off with someone's face in it. It was a pretty rad shot. So that's how we got the POVs, and let's kind of talk about the approach of it. So when we went into it, we knew that we wanted to show multiple families or multiple players, right, of the same family or a family of any capacity, different members of a family, in sort of environments that would then get flipped around on its head. So we started with the mom. She's in the grocery store, which, by the way, shooting in a grocery store, a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, and also a lot problematic. That box there, when she reaches for the cereal box, that cereal box cost me $250. Not just for one. I mean, I got 5 of them, but we had to buy cereal boxes to cover us up because the shot was going this way. Had we stayed in that sort of strafey sort of perspective, as long as you're not showing it in a defaming way, they can't really say a whole lot about it from our understanding. So you can film in a grocery store as long as you're not hero or putting hero logos in any shots that could be deemed defamable, which basically is a nice way of saying stuff you shouldn't do, or stuff your mother, father, sister, brother, whatever, someone you look up to, they don't want to see you doing. So nothing graphic, nothing terrible. Anyway, so in this case, we know we're not doing that. It's a straightforward spot. The idea was the mom grabs the bar and she's thinking about riding a roller coaster and how much fun she would have. So to light that, we just had a Kino over the top of her head. We don't have any BTS for this, otherwise I'd show you. But we have a Kino over the top of her head, and you can see the lights just kind of casting down a little bit. And then we used the store lights, and knowing that we were going to shift the color grade slightly in dealing with that. So we have that overhead piece. Then we had a bounce coming off the front. We just had an angled bounce that was just giving a little bit of return light to her. Very simple piece. Same with the close-ups. We just did this one area lighting thing because we shot 4 locations in one day for this particular spot. So we had to be nimble, quick, and thoughtful, and also make sure we got the image quality we wanted. So that's where that came from in terms of that. We kept it very simple, stupid. Now, we then end up going to the kid. So the kid section was at the same house as the little girl. So when you see the little girl at the end again, just think it's the same location, right? And that's just being clever about location timing. So the kid's house, he's doing homework, whatever he's doing. Again, a couple of sun guns coming through the side. We had a couple of Hemis outside. I think we had two 1.2s blasting, just shining in through the window, just glowing it up just enough to give that kick. And there was a Kino 4x4, which is 4 4-foot tubes, daylight. Again, everything was exposed daylight in the house. Shining in from the side, and then Bernie, our gaffer, walked in a little bit of a fill just to bring in, and I think that was mixed, the salt and pepper. I've heard another phrase for it, but the only one I remember is salt and pepper. But anyway, they bring in some mixed light. That is to say there's tungsten and daylight together just to give us a little bit of warmth kiss across his face, which I think totally works. And so, very simple shot on the Dana dolly. We're just kind of Dana dollying across, which if you don't know what a Dana dolly is, it's a slider on steroids, right? It's not big enough to be a dolly. It's too small to be, or it's too big to be or it's not small enough, I should say, to be a slider. So we had the Dana dolly set up, did a little pan, gave it some vibe to it, knowing that we were going to do lots of different pieces. All the coverage angles were relatively similar so that we could match it up and do our gag effectively, if you will. The hardest part about the shoot was I wanted the pages to blow and just getting them right. We either had too much wind or too little. Several occasions the papers didn't move at all. So that was the kind of the hardest thing. Yeah, he's holding a spinner. I threw it in there because I wanted some way of transitioning us to flip over, and it seemed like an easy way to do it. So then we go to the dad. Now the dad was shot at the hotel where we were staying, which also happens to be near the property that we were filming. So the dad's vacation element is on their back porch of the hotel. They have this beautiful veranda you can look out on the park. So the dad is sitting there, and we have looks like a full silk flying there if I remember correctly, and then a couple of bounces. You can see there's a bounce maybe right down here just off his face. For you guys would be over here, but just off his face, kicking up some light. And then we exposed for that, which is what gave us that really deep, beautiful looking shot. I really would love to test that shot in an HDR format because I bet it pops like a champ. Anyway, he looks really separated from the background. Part of that has to do with the lensing. Again, we're using these master primes, so this was a 70mm lens thrown up against him, and that's where we're getting that beautiful separation without losing a ton of detail in the back. We also were very conscious of the exposure level we are doing. So if you look at the shot again, look at the exposure level. There is stuff soft in the background, but it's not crushed soft. This isn't the time for us to go Super Bokeh Crazy 3000. This is more about setting it so that we can see both the park in the background and the dad in the foreground. And you don't want them perfectly even, but you want enough separation to give them that look. So I believe we exposed this for we were right around an 8, if I'm not mistaken. In order to achieve that shot, we set it for an 8. Finally, we land on the little girl. Again, daylight pouring through the window, even though it was raining. Movie magic. 1.2 Hemi just blasting in. Had the walls were white, so I just let it bounce off those walls. And frankly, we didn't bring anything else except for in the hallway for a reverse shot that we didn't use. In the hallway, there was another one of those salt and pepper lights where we had tungsten and daylight mixed together, just shining in. Now, the little girl is the same location as the little boy. We got him in, got him out, moved on with life. Dressed the room up a good bit with some pretty cool art department elements and just kind of set it up. For the little slide, did something very, very, very simple. It was an apple box slider. So basically, because it's on the rug, it moves smooth enough. Camera's on the apple box, pull the apple box, boom, get a slider. We had the Dana there, but I didn't feel like pulling it off and going through all the hubbub to set it in the room just because of timing reasons. All right, well, that's going to do it. I know it's a short episode. We're still in post on this project, and it feels like we're never going to leave. But that's okay, because we've had a good time. Jeff, have we had a good time?
Yeah.
See? He sounds enthused. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and we'll be back soon enough. My phone's ringing. Bet it's my wife. Hasta la vista. Stupid autofocus!